Why avoidance sabotage good relationships? There's a strange tragedy that plays out over and over again in the lives of people with avoidant attachment. It's not always loud or dramatic. It often happens in the quiet moments, when love should be deepening, when trust is offered freely, and closeness becomes possible. That's exactly when an avoidant will start to pull away. They'll create distance. They'll pick fights, go cold, become passive, or even end things out of the blue. To the outside world, it looks irrational. Why would someone push away something so good? But if you've ever loved someone with avoidant tendencies, or if you've been the avoidant one, you know that love, for some, doesn't always feel like safety. Sometimes it feels like pressure, or danger, or exposure. And good relationships, ironically, become the exact thing that triggers their deepest fears. The root of avoidant sabotage is not hatred or indifference. It's fear. And that fear is often buried so deep, even they don't realize it's controlling them. Most avoidants have learned from a very early age that emotional closeness was risky. Maybe they had parents who were dismissive, critical, emotionally unavailable, or unpredictable. As children, they learned that relying on others brought disappointment. So they adapted. They became self-sufficient. They learned to regulate emotions alone. And now, as adults, closeness triggers the old wound. If I let you in, you'll let me down. Or worse, if I need you, I'll lose myself. So even when they enter a loving, nurturing, emotionally stable relationship, their inner alarms start to go off. It's not because the partner is doing something wrong. It's because the love feels unfamiliar. And unfamiliar doesn't feel safe. One of the most confusing things about avoidance is that they can pursue love and connection and genuinely want it, yet destroy it when it arrives. This happens because there's a powerful split in their inner world. On one side, there's the human longing for closeness, intimacy, and shared life. On the other side, there's the childhood defense mechanism screaming, "This will end badly, protect yourself." So what do? They find ways to push their partner away without taking full responsibility. Maybe they become emotionally distant. Maybe they start criticizing their partner's every move, or they act indifferent during moments that should be intimate. This is not because they've stopped caring. It's because vulnerability feels like a trap. And in their minds, sabotaging the relationship before they get hurt is a form of survival. Ironically, the better the relationship is, the more intense the fear becomes. It's the too good to be true phenomenon. When an avoidant feels genuinely seen, cared for, or loved without conditions, it shatters their entire internal model of relationships. How can I trust this? What's the catch? When will they leave me? Will I owe them something emotionally? Instead of letting love in, they start scanning for flaws. They focus on small imperfections. They convince themselves they're losing interest. They pull away not because they want the relationship to end, but because the emotional intensity is overwhelming. And underneath it all, they often carry a quiet shame. If you really saw all of me, you wouldn't love me. So better to ruin it now, before that truth gets exposed. Let's also talk about how avoidants often reframe their sabotage as logic. You'll hear them say things like, "I just need space," "I'm not ready for anything serious," or "I'm better alone." These are not always lies, but they are often shields, intellectualizations, convenient rationalizations that help them avoid facing the truth, that real intimacy terrifies them. The moment someone gets close enough to matter, they start feeling pressure to perform emotionally in ways they never learned. So they retreat to what feels safer. Independence, emotional control, and solitude. The tragedy is that they often sabotage the one thing they want the most, a connection where they can finally feel accepted and loved as they are. Now, if you're the partner of an avoidant, you've probably felt the confusion firsthand. You show up with love, you offer stability, and just when things are getting good, they withdraw. It can feel personal, but it's not about you. Avoidants are not rejecting you. They're rejecting the feeling of vulnerability. They don't know how to handle being emotionally dependent on someone. It makes them feel weak, exposed, or like they're losing control. And when they feel overwhelmed, they instinctively try to take the emotional pressure off. That might look like ghosting, shutting down, or even ending the relationship abruptly. But underneath that shutdown is a scared inner child who never learned that love can be safe. Another layer of avoidant sabotage is perfectionism. Many avoidants have incredibly high standards, not just for others, but for themselves. They believe they need to appear unbothered, in control, and emotionally neutral at all times. Showing needs or vulnerability feels like failure. So even if they care deeply, they'll act like they don't. They'll avoid conversations about feelings, they'll downplay connection, and in doing so, they lose the very intimacy they crave. The sad part is, they often feel incredibly lonely. But loneliness feels safer than the risk of rejection. So what can be done? Can avoidance stop sabotaging love? The answer is yes, but only with awareness and intentional healing. The first step is recognizing the pattern. Many avoidants don't even realize they're self-sabotaging. They believe they're being realistic or protecting their peace. But if their relationships keep ending the same way, they always feel cold after closeness, then it's time to question the internal narrative. Therapy can be a powerful tool here. So can emotionally safe partners who set boundaries without judgment. Avoidants need to learn that love doesn't mean losing autonomy, that being seen doesn't mean being controlled, and that intimacy doesn't have to feel like imprisonment. For the partner of an avoidant, healing comes through boundaries, not chasing. The more you pursue, the more the avoidant retreats. But if you stand firm, hold space, and protect your own emotional needs, you create the only conditions where an avoidant can feel both safe and respected. The key is not fixing them. It's showing them, through consistency and clarity, that connection doesn't have to come with pressure or loss of identity. And if they're willing, they'll slowly learn to lean in instead of push away. In the end, avoidants sabotage good relationships not because they're broken, but because they've been taught, often through pain, that closeness equals danger. They're protecting themselves the only way they know how. But protection can become a prison. And until they learn that love can be safe, consistent, and freeing, they will keep running from the very thing that could heal them. If you're loving an avoidant, or if you are one, remember, the fear is real, but so is the possibility of healing. It takes courage, it takes patience, but no one is beyond change, especially when love meets them with truth, not pressure.